Welcome to the Jarick and Dan show. My name is Dan Fitzgerald. I'm here with my co-host.
Me llamo Jarick.
My co-host is recently back from a bachelor party in Colombia. I think it was a 5-day bachelor party excursion in Colombia. Jarick, what goes on down there? 5-day bachelor party in Colombia?
Sí, no habla inglés.
All right. We're here at Heartbreak Hill Running Company, and our most important day of the year is the Boston Marathon. And this year was a really special experience for us here at Heartbreak. Our Cambridge studio, we hosted Shalane Flanagan for a shakeout run and VIP class experience. We had Meb here the day after the race, Meb Keflezgi talking about recovery here with Bart Yasso. So our events at Heartbreak were so much fun around the race, but nothing tops the race itself, of course. And we had first-timers who we were checking in with on the blog. We had Mr. Jarek Walker here on his first ever Boston Marathon, and we also had in the elite field as one of our first timers Mr. Louis Serafini, our captain of the Heartbreakers. He's also USATF road racing champion,
Great
2
guy.
years running, and he's also, believe it or not, Jarek, he's here today.
Oh, we got Lou.
We got
here.
Lou in the building.
Oh man.
We get some good guests around here.
Wepa.
So, without further ado, I'd like to welcome Louis Serafini.
Squeeze in here.
Our next studio is going to have a couch.
Yeah, I like that.
Right now, we'll
Really
just
nice.
stuff the guest in the middle. Feels cozy.
Cozy.
Oh, we're close,
Yep.
right?
Yep.
So one of my most favorite things about the running experience is the leveling nature of it. You know, whether you're super fast or super slow, you know, you're always sort of dealing with being uncomfortable and fighting through pain. And this Boston Marathon was a really hot day as far as marathoning goes. If you weren't one of those 30,000 people running, you would think probably it was a perfect day. It's the best day of the year, sunny, beautiful. But for a small subset of the population on that particular day, it is really, really rough weather. And when you spend 5 months training for that day and you get that day, it can be a tough experience. So I thought it'd be a really fun thing to have our elite runner and our first timer just talking a little bit about their Boston Marathon experience. So first we'll head to you, Lou. Lou ran your first Boston what year?
2015.
2015. That was your first marathon, right?
Second
marathon. And how did this time compare to that time?
So I would say this time was better in terms of the overall experience, but definitely performance-wise, significantly worse. So I had kind of a tough day out there. But
Yeah. Jerick, how did you like your first time experience out there?
It was a good time. You know, there were a lot of moments of emotion. I think they kind of went along with the hills. Like when the hills were high, emotions were low. Or high. Emotions were high. When the hills were low, I was okay. But I mean, all in all, it was an amazing experience. The feeling that I felt when I finished was unreal. It was definitely, to this day, the hardest thing I've ever done. And that heat had a lot to do with it. Yeah, man, I would do it again. Don't tell anybody, but I would.
What did you have a time goal in mind this time,
Oh,
Jerick? Were you
man,
looking
I
for anything
did.
in particular?
I did.
Or how did that shake out for you?
I was looking, shake out, that was good. Didn't shake out well. My goal was to run under 4 hours. I went into the race pretty confident. I felt I did everything I needed to do, but all my long runs were in nothing like 70-degree weather, and I ended up running like 40, pretty much like 50 minutes over my goal time. So that's why I have to do it again and just hopefully get better weather and just get out there and do my thing.
How about you, Lou? What was the expectation or the hope versus the reality that day for you?
So my best is 2:17, and I was hoping to PR off that, and I ended up running 2:37. So it was about 20 minutes off. And I think for me, like 2 years ago when I ran Boston, I wanted to PR, and I'd only run in the 2:30s at that point. So when I kind of hit the wall or whatever, I was really pushing through and didn't look at the crowds. I didn't really see many friends for the last 6 miles. And, you know, I had ended up doing okay, but I still kind of left that race feeling like I didn't fully experience Boston.
Yeah.
So this year, like when the wheels came off, it was more just about, all right, like how many people can I see out there? Like how many friends can I see, and like how much can I enjoy this experience while I'm in a lot of pain right now? So there's always that moment where like the time goal kind of goes out the window a little bit, and you kind of have to make some sacrifices. And for me, like A goal, B goal, C goal were all out the window, and it was just more about giving out some high fives
yeah.
and smiles and so.
But when did you really start to run into trouble?
So I thought I ran a very conservative first half. I went out right at pace, and I was taking water every stop. But then for me, around like 13, 14, 15, I noticed that like my pace was dropping, and I was starting to feel some like muscle spasms in my calves, and that was kind of when I realized like it's gonna be a long last 10 miles. So that was kind of like the initial when I noticed, and then as soon as I hit the hills, there was just nothing there. So
Yeah.
I think for me, like, I didn't feel the heat the first 13 miles. I was like, this actually isn't that bad. I was keeping myself cool.
Yeah.
But I think it was more like when you don't feel the heat, I was just really feeling the dehydration of the race, and my mouth was dry in between water stops. Like even though I was taking water, and I just couldn't keep myself hydrated. I think that's why I had such bad muscle spasms as the race went on. But
was there a point where you were trying to fight through it, or did it all happen so quickly, the sort of the downward spiral, that it was like A, B, C, D out the window, and now I'm just chilling? Or was it sort of like, were you like, okay, I feel this?
Yeah.
Like, can I fight this?
There was like 3 to 4 miles of fight, I would say. And then like people were passing me that I really, even on my worst day, wouldn't want to finish behind. And it got to the point where I was like, all right, just get to mile 20. I know that's where the team is. And once I get there, then I've got someone at 21, 22, 23. And it was really kind of the survival shuffle from I'd say 17 miles on. So unfortunately, but
I think a lot. You looked great when you passed mile 20, as most people tend to do when they pass mile 20. They fake it for mile 20 if they're associated with Heartbreak Hill Running Company. You gotta power through, smile. But I knew. Watching some of your regional competition coming in ahead of you, I was getting nervous and worried about you at mile 20.
Yeah.
You have the day you get sometimes, and that's it. Jarick, how about you? Was there a certain point where you were like, okay, my B goal is here, I'm just going to finish? Or were you gunning for that time?
It was interesting. I was definitely started off slow going down the hills, or not too fast going down the hills, and it was weird because I felt good, and all the people were in my way, but I was like, I don't want to bob and weave, I don't want to waste energy, so I try to just find my niche, and at mile 8, I was good up until mile 8, and mile 8 was when I felt that I was kind of slowing down because my foot did a thing, but then it went away, and then I got to 13, and I was feeling cool. Couldn't find the right Wellesley girl. Too much to choose from, and I didn't think it was real until a guy cut me off and just went for it. I was like, but then I think at 13 I slowed down significantly. I think I was in the beginning, I didn't drink at every water station because I felt that I had hydrated enough, and then I got to a point where I was taking maybe 3 cups of water and 2 cups of Gatorade at every water station, which meant
You're asking for a tray?
Hit the right side first. I pretty much the McDonald's trays. Had those, but they got so sticky, and then Heartbreak Hill was just beat me up. I've never cramped like that in my life, and there was nothing I could do about it, and I did it. I thought if you went into the med tent that you were just done. They would just stop you from running, because I just saw people go into the med tent, and I saw people just getting driven away, and I was like, I don't want to get driven away. I got to finish. And so I skipped the med tent and kind of walked and did a walking massage and hit the wall at 8, kind of broke through it, and then pretty much about a little bit after halfway through, that was when I knew I was like, all right, this is gonna be a long extra half. And I had to walk several times just to get my legs back and kind of shake my arms out, and it got to the point where I was just angry if I saw someone I knew, because I was like, I don't want you to see me like this. And even people reaching out for high fives, it pissed me off. I was like, I feel like it was energy wasted, and I was hitting the signs that said hit here for energy, and I didn't get no energy. I was like, lies and propaganda. But
Galen must have took it all.
Yeah, I think he did. He took it all. The last mile, I was like, I don't care about anything, and I actually sprinted by my family, or what felt like a sprint, but probably wasn't going that fast. But yeah, it was tough. It was tough, but it was a lot more than what I actually expected. I didn't. Because then there were times where I hated the crowd, but then there were times where I was like, if the crowd wasn't here, I don't know if I would have made it through. And almost having a Heartbreak singlet on was an advantage because anytime I was like slowing down, they were like, heartbreaker, and I was like, in my mind I'd be like, ooh, you, I get it. And then I was, it was like people that I'd never seen before, but they knew that logo, and I was, so I had to represent well.
Yeah, my experience on the day, people always say, are you running? And if I ran, that lends its own level of challenge and difficulty to the day. But my day's pretty stressful as it is because I get there early. I worry about other businesses trying to poach my corner. But that's the day. That's why we have that business. Yeah. So I get there. I set up my owner's box on the rail there. I get some caution tape and set off a big piece so I don't have to fight for the rail. To scream at all my runners, and I sit there for about 7 hours, wait for the end of the race and cheer on. This year we stayed till after the buses. Josh Campbell and I, the Nike photographer, was there with me shooting for Hot Shot that day, and it's such an emotional day to watch people's faces. They're excited to see me and excited to be at that point and continue on, and some people are so scared and don't know what to do with themselves at that point because the day really went poorly. Some people are excited and having fun at that point. This year, last year Rebecca was there with me. Unfortunately, with Edie and the new baby, she couldn't make it, but we're really excited to have Rebecca and Edie next year. They'll be in the owner's box. Nice. As a day, it's always so much fun to see people put it on the line even when the day doesn't go super well. Was there any moment in particular that stuck out for you guys as like your most favorite moment? Is it the finish line, or was there a person you remember? I was listening to Shalane tell a story on the Runner's World podcast yesterday about seeing one guy in particular at mile 10 one year, like screaming in her face and like almost spitting on her, and her reaction to that was that this is the most awesome race she's ever done in her life. She still remembers his face, and like just being that close to the crowd, and the crowd like being that excited about you was something that she really liked. So was there any moment or person or a couple of them that you guys remember as like great, even though the day wasn't exactly what you wanted?
It's always mile 20 for me, both times. For me, it was like I was kind of going backwards 2 years ago too, and I was able to hold on a little better than this year, but it was just get to that point and you just get such a rush of energy. And then from there on out, I saw so many people the last 6 miles. So seeing all those faces and all those people that support you is always very humbling and very cool. And one thing that was special for me even after the race was the number of people that sent me messages, people that I haven't heard from in years, just being like, I saw you, you did so cool. Great, good job. And I had to kind of swallow my pride a little bit and be like, oh, it wasn't very good, but it's just a great feeling to get all that support from people. So I have trouble picking out one moment. One kind of funny thing that happened to me was there was a kid that I ran track with at BC who I probably haven't seen in let's see, maybe 6 years, because he ended up getting cut from the team, and he came by me at mile 25, and I did a double take, and I was like, is that? Yeah, I think it is. And he had bleach blonde hair, and I hadn't seen him in forever, but that was kind of a cool moment. I was really happy for him, and I sent him a message after the race telling him good job, and so there's just millions of moments, and that's what makes Boston so special, you know.
It is amazing to feel that community, and it's individual for everybody, and before you do it, you don't really understand why people love it so much. You're like, what's this marathon thing? Look, I know you ran 26.2 miles. Shut up about it, okay? Yeah. But once you do it and you feel that community, you can tell how it can be addicting and really a special moment in your life, and you can choose to do it as many times as your body can handle, I guess. Any particular moments for you, Jared?
One and done. Right. That's what I said initially. I had seeing people that I knew, and it was just a wide range of people from just different areas of my life that I saw and was excited to see, and seeing mile 20 was awesome, and there was all the energy, and it felt good to run by and know that everyone was kind of behind me on this whole journey, and a guy named Lindsey Smith who kind of when I first started running, he was kind of someone that I just was running with back when in the run club days, and he jumped the fence and ran with me for a little bit and ran up with me to the next water station, and I was such a mess that I wasn't even drinking it properly, and he was like, you gotta pinch it, and he was just speaking a whole bunch of just positive words awesome. Going and
he's a great guy.
And that was big for me, and even just like random people. I saw Brogan, one of the guys that started November Project, and I just yelled his name. He gave me a big hug, and also just gave me. I realized how big he was until that day. He's a big guy, and he just also just shared some positive words with me as well, and then I think right before the finish line, seeing one of my best friends, he gave me the biggest hug ever, and then that just kind of.
That's captured on video, actually.
Oh, yeah,
a good video.
And
Who captured that video, by the way?
His sister, who was on the roof.
Yeah. Like, how did he get this shot?
I was like, how'd you do that? Because he sent it to me. I was like, how'd you do that? And just sprint. And after that, I just felt that I had all the energy in the world to kind of run through the finish line. And same thing. People that I hadn't spoken to in a long time called me or even texted me and were like, hey man, I owe you a drink or whatever. This is amazing. And I'm just like, wow, thank you. I appreciate it. And the Hawaiian rolls that they gave you at the finish line.
The what?
The Hawaiian rolls. You didn't get the
No.
Hawaiian rolls? You must have walked right by it. So you got, it was the
I didn't get them either.
You got the
I've heard about
water,
them, but-
the banana, then there was it was almost like a care package. It
Okay.
was a plastic bag, and there was an apple, fruit cup, which is still at home.
So you haven't gone grocery shopping since the
I
marathon.
can't wait to eat that fruit cup. That fruit cup is dessert tonight. And there was a bag of Hawaiian rolls, 6 rolls, like dinner rolls. But,
Yeah.
man, have you never had a Hawaiian roll?
No.
Well, first of all, just eating it, go get one today.
Okay.
And it's going to change your life. But imagine, and then when you taste it, how good it is, imagine after running a marathon what 6 of those taste like.
Yeah.
Man, whoever came up with that idea to give those to the finishers, well done.
Genius.
Well done.
Genius.
Because
All right,
that
fair enough.
it gave me life.
Fair
man.
enough.
It
The
gave me
sales,
life.
the sales rep for the Hawaiian rolls.
Yeah.
That guy's legit. If you're selling Hawaiian rolls to Bostonians for their marathon,
I'm saying.
that's a connection we weren't going to find on our own.
Wasn't expecting that.
It's almost like, imagine a dinner roll. Dinner rolls are nice, but imagine just something sweet. I don't know if they inject it or they just sprinkle it on there, but it's
Sunshiny goodness from
yeah,
Hawaii.
from
All right.
Hawaii. It's Hawaiian sunshine.
will have one tonight.
That's the seasoning on the
Okay.
roll.
So Lou, for you, last time you ran Boston, we have those pictures of you streaking by the camera in your books kit that year. This year was sort of a special marker for you in the sense that you've signed a deal to represent Mizuno. Did that add any pressure to you? Did that change the dynamic for you in any way? Was that on your mind? How was?
I didn't think about it too much, to be honest. I always just try to put all that external stuff aside when I'm racing and just kind of focus on the task at hand. I have to say it was cool being in the they put you in a church, all the elites with all the elite runners. It was cool having all my Mizuno gear there because most of those guys are all kitted out and
Right.
sponsored and
Right.
stuff. So that definitely made me feel kind of cool. But that kind of stuff, it's nice to have that support, and Mizuno's been really great for me. It's definitely helped me take my training to another level, I think. Going into the race, even though it didn't pan out, I still feel like I was in the best shape that I've ever been in, for sure, and largely thanks to them. But you get into like in the church, there was an elite in there, Jared Ward, who was, I think he was 6th at the Olympics, and he ran Boston this year, and I maybe finished 10th or 15th. I know he didn't have an awesome day either,
Right.
but this is one of the best professional marathoners in the U.S. and sponsored by Saucony, and he's sitting in there rocking a Heartbreak Trucker hat.
That's awesome.
Before 30 minutes before the race, just
That's
has a
awesome.
black flag Heartbreak Trucker
I didn't know
hat,
that.
and he recognized me and was like, hey, is that a Heartbreak shirt? Because I had a hat or a shirt or something like that, and I was like, oh yeah, I manage the Newton store, and I was meant to thank you for wearing that hat all weekend. I've seen pictures, and he's like, I love this hat.
Shout out to the Western Run concierge, Chris Heisler.
Yes, Chris Heisler.
Who
hooked that up.
hooked that up. Yeah,
So,
gave those hats as gifts to many elite athletes.
Yeah,
Right.
I thought it was cool though. No matter what level you get to as a runner, there's always that, humbling thing.
Yeah.
Just wearing what you want to wear and repping who you want to rep, and you rep the people that you believe in, which
Yep.
I think is cool. So, that's kind of where I was at. Mizuno's always been super supportive, but so is Heartbreak, and just being able to rep those two companies, it's almost like another thing that you have going for you.
Yeah.
Something to fight for.
So what's next on your race agenda?
Harpoon?
Harpoon 5
Harpoon
miler.
5 miler.
Okay, great.
Yeah.
Great.
Against our videographer here. That's the next one. I'm just kind of like easing back into things now. If that goes well, I'll probably hop back on the track. Thinking about doing the Adrian Martinez Classic against some local pros. I was asked to run in the 3K in that elite field, which is like a local professional meet that Hoka 1-1 puts on.
Yeah.
I'm probably going to do that if everything goes smooth, and if that goes well, probably a few more track races. But
Great.
got to take it.
I've
one race
heard,
at a
actually, I
time.
asked what's next, but there actually was a race that happened already since the Boston Marathon.
Yes.
There was some smack talk between you and another local elite runner.
I've retired from beer miling since I ran a 5:49 beer mile about 3 years ago. And then I thought it'd be a good idea to come out of retirement and run another one. I have a friend, Matt Fisher, who runs for the BAA, and him and I have been trying to run one for a few months now. So it like honestly came together that day. We were trying to pick a day, couldn't figure out a good day for it to work, and he was like, what if we just do it tonight? And I was like, okay, sounds good. So I like posted it in our like group message for the Heartbreaker Flyers, and like 9 people were like down, just like on the spot, like let's do it. So we had a big field. I finished in 3rd originally, but later found out that I was disqualified for spitting up too much foam. So, long story short, even if I weren't DQ'd, it was not a good time. So.
New Heartbreaker Flyer Jake came in and swooped in for the win.
He won. Those Irish guys, they know how to drink and run. So, yeah, so he took the win. So.
All right, well, thanks, Lou. Good luck with your running journeys. Thanks for sitting on the Jarick and Dan show.
Thanks for having me.
All right.
It's hot back there.
All right, as we do on the Jarick and Dan show, we have 3 awards every episode. So for this one, as always, we have 3: the participation medal, the King of the Hill, and the laurel wreath. Same thing the Boston Marathon winner champion will wear.
Thought I had it.
Same goes for the Jarick and Dan show.
Yeah, absolutely.
Top honor of the week. So we'll start with the participation medal. This goes out to Rachel Moo. Rachel is, I don't know if she's left yet, but she's on her way to Italy this weekend. We should say this weekend is the Breaking 2 attempt for Nike's Breaking 2 project. So that's going down in Italy this weekend on a racetrack, and 10 people were selected to watch the race, and they had to enter an essay into a competition to Nike to get chosen based on their story to see that race. So Rachel Moo was actually Martin Richards' teacher. Martin Richard is one of the 3 people who died in the 2013 bombing, and he was 8 years old at the time, and she has run many times for the Martin Richard Foundation, and it was that experience that led her to running, to start her running journey, was because of that tragedy. So it's an exciting day for Rachel. King of the Hill, Jarick, who do we got?
King of the Hill. So King of the Hill, first of all, let me tell you the story that leads up to why this guy is King of the Hill. So you got this guy named John Ross who ran in the NFL Combine and broke the record. He for the 40-yard dash ran a 4.22. That is fast as hell.
That's
very fast.
It's one of those things. It's like the mile though, where if you broke 5, like guys don't know. Some people don't know the difference between 4.45 and a 4.05.
Absolutely.
It's like when you say 4.22. I know it's fast, but like, what
That's
could I do
fast.
at 5? No.
Like, because if you do it at 5,
6,
it's like
probably not.
That's slow. No one's going to take you to the NFL. Even big guys now can run like in the high 4s, and I think even in my prime, I was a 4.56.
Whoa.
Can't do it anymore though.
All right.
But this guy, so everyone was like, "Hey, broken record, fastest guy to ever run a 40," and an Olympian by the name of Christian Coleman was challenged to see if he could beat this time, and he ran a 4.12, which you thought 4.22 was fast as hell. This is fast as boop. You know, it is crazy how fast. And so shout out to you, man, King of the Hill. I don't know if you could play football.
He's too fast for that.
You might just be too fast. You're gonna get there before the ball does every time. It's not going to work out.
This is a lesson to the world. When you're watching the Olympics and you're curious as to whether those people are the best in the world at what they do, the answer is yeah.
Yeah. Like, that's wild. I couldn't even imagine.
And Christian Coleman, it should be mentioned, is still in college. He runs for Tennessee.
Shout out to the Olympians.
Yeah, shout out to the Olympians.
Let's draft this guy. Let's get him on the Patriots. We'll see what we can do with him. Throw some pads on them.
All right, so that's your King of the Hill. Our Laurel Wreath winner is an Oregon Project runner. Major success story here at the Boston Marathon. It's Galen Rupp. He is our Laurel Wreath winner here. He didn't win the Laurel Wreath on the day, but he is our Laurel Wreath winner for his performance, and even more so for the humanity I saw the day after the race, when Jarick and I had the opportunity to interview the top 3 men and top 2 women at Nike Boston to just host a post-race interview and talk about recovery and that kind of stuff. And I've watched some interviews with Galen on internet TV, and a lot of them are pre-race, so I'll give him the benefit of the doubt there. Yeah. But they're kind of, he seems a little stiff. He doesn't seem to love being in the interview. There's one that was on recently before he ran his half where he seemed a little groggy. I guess you're flying across the world and then someone's in your face with a camera. It's not that fun. But this experience after the Boston Marathon, he talked about his recovery dinner. It was just a steakhouse party. It sounded like the Oregon Project probably raged a little bit at a steakhouse. And what I thought was striking about that interview was really how touched he was by the experience of running Boston. Here's a guy who's arguably the best distance runner in American history, multi-record holder, silver medalist in the 10,000 meters, bronze medalist in the marathon. He's run world championships, he's run Olympic championships. He was really touched by the crowd experience in particular at the Boston Marathon and that intimate connection between the crowd and the runners. And it made me think for a second when you think about those championship races or even running at Oregon, which Galen is from there, so that's a special experience. Runners always say running at Hayward. Even with all of those races, that Boston was still something special for a guy like that. I thought was cool, and it made me think, like, you are still removed. Even if you're at a world-class track meet and you're in a giant full stadium, you're still on the track. You're not right there, like I said about Chilean getting spit on and people screaming your name right in your face. And I got to just chat with him for a second, and as we transitioned after the interview, and he was pumped. He was just so high about running Boston and loved it. So he definitely wants to come back and win, which we're excited. So props to you, Galen. It was really exciting to get to talk to you and see your enthusiasm for our marathon here in Boston. So our Laurel Wreath winner. Hopefully we get the real one someday from for the big win, but Laurel Wreath winner Galen Rupp.
Oh, yeah.
All right, as we do on the Jerick and Dan Show, also, we like to talk about our jams of the week, what we're rocking in the studio, at Heartbreak Studio while we're teaching. For me, this week was a big music week. Kendrick Lamar. I'm a big fan of his. I'll admit I wasn't converted on the Kendrick. I wasn't as into rap in the past maybe 5 years as I am now. I kind of let it go, even though it's really influential in my youth.
It's changed a lot.
It's changed a lot. And I was at a concert with my wife, Rebecca Pacheco, and we were listening. I forget who we were seeing. I think it was Tan Lines, and they were playing the song at the start. It was. I think I can say it. Bitch, Don't Kill My Vibe.
Yeah.
And
Great song.
And Rebecca was like, this jam is dope. She bought the album, and I was like, yeah, it sounds pretty good,
That was a great album.
I was like, it sounds pretty good. So she bought the album, she's listening to it, and I'm like reading Pitchfork, my snooty music blog, and that was picked as album of the year. I was like, hey, look, you're right, you have good ear.
Yeah.
I'm like, all right, my wife was totally right about that. Totally was on the Kendrick way before I was. But anyway, Kendrick's new album just came out this week, and I've been playing Kendrick's DNA off his new album.
I got loyalty
That's a good jam. Jerick, what's your jam of the week?
So such a good one that you picked there. So mine is by a guy named Alok. Don't really know him that well, never seen him before, but it's really fitting since I've just come back from Colombia, and I'm really kind of feeling these Latin vibes. And when I think of Colombia, I think of the show Narcos. And so this song called Fuego by Alok is almost like a techno version, upbeat version of the song from Narcos.
Soy el fuego que... That's good. I think you're onto something.
Yeah, that's gonna be a good one. It's gonna be a good one.
So Jerick, if a young man, a young pile of dudes goes to Colombia, what do you suggest they do?
So if you guys want to go to Colombia, this could be the tip of the week, can't it?
Tip of the week. All right, tip of the week for you gentlemen going down to Colombia.
Gentlemen that want to go to Colombia, here's the thing. First of all, convert your money to pesos. It just works out better that way for you. Second of all, you have to learn Spanish before you go, because if you don't, I don't know lick Spanish. what I'd said in the beginning of the show, that's all I know. 20% of the people know Spanish. So if you are trying to communicate with people, it was hard to get food. It was hard to get directions anywhere. Some guy told me to take a left. I didn't know what left was in Spanish. So I just stood there and I was like, hey. But sometimes they don't even understand hey. And there's a lot of hand signals, and I've never felt so just out of touch from the world.
Yeah.
But you know, when you're out there, if you don't know Spanish, your best bet, no, you're not going to survive. You won't survive out there at all. Like, you need to have a translator. Bring a translator with you. You can get translators at translator.com. And if you use my promo code, hey, it's Jarick, you can get 20% off of your translator.
That's good.
Yeah.
So those are your tips. Convert to pesos.
Convert to pesos.
And learn Spanish
And learn
if you're going
Spanish.
to Colombia.
Mhm.
Those are really good inside tips.
Yeah. Because otherwise, it's just not going to be a good time.
Might switch this to a travel show.
Yeah. Listen. we can do that. Ah, it's beautiful, man.
Another tip this week, we'll say it's spring. A lot of people are getting into running right now, and I like to just remind people as they're new to running. I get this question a lot. What do you do? How do you start running? And I just say, just get out there.
Yeah.
You don't need a coach yet. Just you got 2 feet. You want to go running? Just go for a run.
Okay,
I would say do a little bit less than you think. Just because Jarick has run a marathon doesn't mean you can run a marathon. Just because your friend at work, who you think isn't in that great a shape, can run 10 miles at a time, doesn't mean you should go out and run 10 miles at a time. So I would go out for just, you can walk a minute, jog a minute, off and on. You can just go for 20 minutes is plenty. I like to start with minutes at my start and don't worry about pace, don't worry about GPS watches. Just get out there, do it, and make it fun, and leave a little in the tank so that way you're empowered to go do it again the next day. That's the most important thing. You want to make it a life change and something you're going to do, not something that you're going to be knocked down by. It should be empowering. So that's my tip of the week. Jarick's tip of the week is if you're going to a Spanish-speaking nation,
Learn Spanish and get some pesos.
that's a pretty good tip from you. I don't even need an asterisk for that one.
Well, I felt like all my tips were good up to this point.
All right, you're right. So, all right, that's the Jarick and Dan show for today. Thanks for tuning in. We'll catch you soon.
Hasta luego, señoras and señoritas.